Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this live video today. I'm your host, Matthew, and today we're going to be talking about something very important, and that is how to actually change your life. Now, I don't know about you, but I have run into many people throughout this week, and they have just been wondering, like, Matthew, like, how is it that I can change my life? Specifically people at my job, they're like, I don't like this going on, I don't like that going on, and I really want something different to happen. And I was just sitting there thinking that I believe that there are many people out there in the world that are like that. And maybe even you watching this video are like that. Maybe you want to have a better relationship. Maybe you want to have better finances. Maybe you want to have better health. Well, in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you the 3 steps that you need to take to actually have a better life and to be able to make change. Now, for the longest time, I actually struggled specifically in the financial area. And many people may be thinking, like, okay, well, why did you struggle financially? What I discovered is that the reason why I was struggling financially is because I did not understand how money worked. The only thing I knew about money was how to make it and how to spend it. All right. Those were the main things that I knew how to do. When it came to saving, when it came to understanding like different investments and things like that, I was completely clueless. But a great thing that I discovered is once you actually take these 3 steps, you are going to be able to change any aspect of your life, and you have to do them in this order. So many people, and myself included, will go throughout life and say, well, the reason why I'm not financially free or financially independent is because of the jobs or because of inflation or because of this or because of that. The reason I'm not healthy is because of the food that they make, and it has all these processed chemicals and all this other stuff. The reason my relationship isn't good is because my spouse, or they're not doing the things that they want to do or the things that they should be doing to make me feel better. And I have something to say about that. Those things are true. All right. However, what are you going to do about it now? The only thing and the only person that you can actually change is yourself. So if you desire for any area of your life to get better, you have to change yourself. Now, the first step when it comes to actually changing is you must become aware. This is the first stage, become aware. Now, many people will sit there and think, they'll say, well, um, I'm not financially free because of inflation. I'm not financially free because of the job and all this other stuff. Those things are true. Those things are valid. Is inflation at an all-time high? Yes. Is the housing market in a weird space? Yes. Um, are some relationships and stuff like that have issues? Yes. All those things are true. So you have hit the first stage of this, which is you have become aware of you have a problem. All right. Like for me, my thing was, hey, look, I'm making this money, and at the end of every month, I only have like $50 to $100 in my bank account. Well, I'm aware that there is a problem. That is the first stage. I am aware that there's a problem. Now that I'm aware that there's a problem, now what I have to do and what you have to do is you have to go and see how did you get to that problem. It's called discovering what the root is. What is the root that calls for this flower or that calls for this issue to actually bud up and become a big factor in your life? So when that actually happens, there is something very, very um, important that happens in this stage. And until you actually do this, I don't believe that you can even make it to stage 2. And the first thing is acknowledging where you heard this information from. Like for me, finances wasn't talked a lot about when I was growing up. For you, relationships might not been talked about a lot. For other people, maybe health wasn't talked about a lot. And what you have to do is, now that you're aware that you have a problem, now the second part of this is you have to go and you have to discover the root. You have to discover where is it that this actually came from that caused it to actually grow into something. Now, when you actually discover that, what ends up happening is you will be met with difficult opposition, or you'll be basically met with challenges. And the reason why I say you'll be met with challenges is because you're going to realize that some of these things that you learned, whether it was directly, which means that someone directly told you, hey, this is how you do this, or indirectly learned it, which means you ended up watching somebody and how they act and how they reacted to certain things and how they carried themselves in certain situations. You learned what you know today about a specific area, whether it's relationships, whether it's finances, whether it's your health, whether it's your job, and different things like that. So, say for instance, for me, when it comes to finances, I learned how to make money and I learned how to spend money. Well, the first thing that I learned about making money is that, hey, time is equal to money. All right. Time is equal to money. So this is a clock, and then it says it's equal to money. All right. And really, the truth is, when I discovered that I wasn't having success financially, I discovered that this is the biggest lie that there is. Like, time is not equal to money. And you might be sitting there thinking, Matthew, I've heard that too, that time is equal to money. What do you mean that time is not equal to money? Well, here's the thing. Let's say that you end up being late by like 5 minutes. All right. You end up being late by 5 minutes and you want to go and try to get that time back. Are you going to be able to get that time back? The answer is no. Once time is gone, that time is gone. All right. But if you actually go and you end up losing, let's say $5, can you get that $5 back? The answer is yes. So that means that time is not equal to money. What really should be is that time is infinitely greater than money. All right. And the reason why time is infinitely greater than money is because time is a limited resource. And when you have a limited resource and you can't get it back, that is going to automatically make it more valuable than money. Like specifically time, that's going to be make it more valuable than money. Now, when I actually discovered, okay, time is not equal to money, time is infinitely greater than money. Now, what is it that I have to do to be able to change my awareness? Well, I have to go see where did I learn this at? And I learned it from growing up. I used to hear that a lot. Time is equal to money. Time is money. Another day, another dollar. All those different sayings. And that caused me to think that, man, I got to go out there and I got to hustle and I got to bustle and I got to go I got to go use my time to make this money. All right. And utilizing your time to make money is okay when you don't know. But once you start knowing, especially if you just desire to be independent, financially independent, if you desire to be financially free, you have to learn how to separate your time from earning money. And once I discovered that, I'm like, okay, well, I learned that from maybe some aunts, or I heard that around uncles, or I heard that around, my friends' parents, or different things like that. What I had to do next is, which is number two, is I had to make a decision on what I was going to believe. And this is the hardest part because a lot of these things that we actually learn come from people that we love. You love your mom, you love your dad, you love your aunts and uncles, you love your grandparents, yet their philosophy about certain things were wrong. And it's hard to say that for many people. It's really hard to admit that for a lot of people because you love them. And for some people, you may not have your parents around anymore. For some people, you may not have your grandparents around or aunts and uncles, and you want to hold on to those memories. However, those memories of these certain philosophies are not serving you. And if they're not serving you, you have to challenge them, and then you have to see what is a better way. And when you find a better way, you have to go and decide, which is the next one. You have to make a decision that, hey, look, this is what I'm going to do. I grew up hearing that time is equal to money, and I no longer believe that time is equal to money. I believe that time is infinitely greater than money. So I'm going to make a decision to figure out a way to stop using all of my time to earn money. All right. So now that you make this decision, people are not going to like it. People are going to think that you think that you're better than them. People are going to say that, oh, you're so uppity, and people are going to say that, oh, you think that you're Mr. Big Stuff or Miss Hot Shot, all this different type of stuff. And it's not that you think that you're better than people. It's just you realize that those thoughts, those ideas are not serving you. And when you have thoughts and ideas that are not serving you, you have to change that. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you say in life, The way that your life is going is dependent on the decisions that you make. So many people are in their 30s, their 40s, 50s, 60s, and up, and they have regrets about not taking a chance on themselves. They have regrets about not actually going through with those ideas. They have regrets of not trying new things. And if you don't want to have those regrets, what you have to do is you have to go and first you become aware of something that's not going right in your life. And that's really, I believe, the easiest part because you know what's not working in your life. You know that you're not where you want to be. The next thing is you have to make a decision that you're going to get rid of what is not serving you and you are going to go with a different philosophy. Now, when it comes to making these decisions and having these different philosophies, where do these things actually come from? Well, for me, they came from watching some people on YouTube like Myron Golden, Gary V, Jim Rohn, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, and different people like that, and also reading books by Miles Monroe, reading books by Napoleon Hill, and a lot of different other books. And that caused for me to change my philosophy. So I made a decision that, hey, I don't want this area of my life to be the same, specifically financially. So I have to make a decision to change, get rid of this philosophy that I had before that wasn't serving me. And now I have to make a decision to actually take on new philosophies. Now, there's actually a scripture in the Bible, and it's one of my favorite scriptures, and it's Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And it says, be ye transformed by the renew, or do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, the first thing I had to think about is, what does it mean to transform? Like, what is really transforming? And as I actually looked that up and I was like, okay, what is a great example of transformation? And a great example of transformation is a caterpillar. When a caterpillar, grows, or it's a larvae, then it grows into a caterpillar, it's eating, 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 eating. And then the next thing, once it gets to a certain period of time, it goes into what's called a cocoon. When it goes into this cocoon, what ends up happening is now it is going to transform into a butterfly. All right. So, what does it mean to be transformed? Transformed means that you are no longer the same as you used to be. Now, when it came to conformed, it said, hey, look, do not be conformed to the world. So, what is conforming? Conforming means molding. If you take Play-Doh, when I was a kid, I used to play with Play-Doh a lot. If you take Play-Doh and you start molding it and mushing it and trying to form it into something, literally whatever you decide that you want to form it in, you can make that Play-Doh that specific shape or that specific object. And that's what God doesn't want us to allow for the world to do. He doesn't want us to be conformed or be molded by the things in the world. But it says be transformed, which is be like a caterpillar and go into a cocoon. Yes, you're going to be by yourself. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to be transformed into something totally different, which allows for you to get the results that you desire to get. And a big part of that is, like I said, when a caterpillar goes into a cocoon, everybody is not coming into the cocoon with it. It's not like, hey, I'm in this cocoon. Let me get my friend over here. Hey, let me get my parents over here. Hey, let me get my coworkers over here. When you are actually getting into that cocoon and you are deciding to transform your mind, nobody is going to understand you. And that's like one of the really big things that I had to discover is that people are going to think that you are crazy. People are not going to be on board with you all the time. People are going to misunderstand you. People are going to say, negative things about you because you're deciding not to be the status quo. You are deciding not to be the same as everybody else. And you're going to have to develop tough skin because when you're in this mode, many people are disliking you, not because they actually dislike you, but they're disliking you because the person that they once knew is actually dying now. That caterpillar going into a cocoon. That caterpillar will never, ever, ever be a caterpillar again because it's going through a transformation process and is becoming a butterfly. So now when it comes to transforming, and it says by the renewing of your mind. I found that very interesting. Now, I didn't pay attention a lot in my English class. However, I do remember hearing this one thing. Anytime that you put re in front of something, that means that you have to do it. Anytime you put this prefix in front of something, that means that you have to do it over and 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 over again. So when it says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, you have to make a decision to renew your mind every single day, every single hour of the day, every single minute of the day. That is the only way that you're going to be able to get rid of these old beliefs that used to serve you, that caused you to get the results that you're getting. And if you want to take on new beliefs, a new philosophy, you have to constantly renew your mind every single day. You know, currently at the recording of this video, I'm 30 years old. I'm thankful that God has blessed me to be 30. And since I remember being conscious, which is maybe about 6 or 7, basically all the way up until about 25 or 26, I have been conditioned to think a certain way. Whatever your age is, from when you were conscious and when you first remember having consciousness up until the age that you are now watching this video, you have been programmed a certain way. So the thing, or the reason why I say that, is because this is not going to happen overnight. There's a process for everything. When you plant a seed in the ground, there's a process for it to actually grow. When you decide that you want to renew your mind, there's a process of it actually growing. Now, are certain things able to grow faster than others? Yes. You know, dogs grow faster than a plant does. You know, a flower may grow faster than a tree does. Everything has its own stage. Everything has its own cycle. And when you decide that you want to renew your mind, I want to encourage you to not try to speed up your process, because as you start to renew your mind and take on these new philosophies, you're going to start growing. And just like when you plant a flower, or just like when you plant a tree, what ends up happening? The tree starts to go and it starts to sprout up. And then when it goes and starts to sprout up, weeds automatically just come around it. When you start to renew your mind, things are going to come up. Things are going to try to come and derail you off of your journey of this decision that you decided to make. Now, when it comes to this decision is not making a choice. A choice is like going to the ice cream bar and you're like, okay, do I want chocolate or do I want vanilla? Okay. Those are choices. But the decision is saying, hey, I'm deciding that I'm going to go to Cold Stone and I'm going to get some ice cream. I decided that I'm going to go to Ben and Jerry's and I'm going to get some ice cream. I decided that I'm going to go to Dairy Queen and I'm going to get some ice cream. But when you actually get there, that is when you are deciding which type that you want. All right. So when you make this decision, you are cutting all other options off. All right. And you have to stay consistent with it. And like I said, when you start to renew your mind, that is going to bring up other issues. All right. So I just want to prepare you for that, because when I first started, I didn't realize that. And if I would have known that, it would have helped me not be so hard on myself and understand that this is just part of the process. Now, the last thing is, as you go, you become aware of what's not serving you. And you say, hey, look, I don't want to keep this anymore. You made a decision to change your philosophy about a certain topic or a certain area of your life. And you decided that, hey, look, I'm going to start reading different things that's going to help me renew my mind. I'm going to start reading books. I'm going to start going to seminars. I'm going to start watching some YouTube videos, and I'm going to find some people that are where I want to be in life in a particular area, so I can start actually getting results that I desire in my life. Now, then the number 3 is one of the hardest parts, I believe, which is being disciplined. Being disciplined to what you have decided to do. Making sure that you stay consistent. Now, I actually heard this quote on social media, and Mike Tyson said it, and I believe that it is so true. and it's something that I'm working towards. And then he said that somebody asked him, what is discipline? And he said, discipline is doing what you hate doing, but you doing it like you love it. I'm going to say that again. Mike Tyson said that discipline is doing what you hate doing, but you do it like you love it. That means that when it comes time to you start to renew your mind, like for me, my finances, hey, look, I got to start managing my money. That was when I came where I said, look, I got to start managing my money and I got to start understanding these different investments and how to put my money here and have my money work for me. So now that I understand that, what I end up having to do now is, okay, well, I need to make sure I stay consistent with that. I have to be disciplined with that. Every single month, this is how much money I have for my bills. This is how much money I have for investing. This is how much money I have for going and having fun. This is how much money I have for educating myself. That has to be something that is consistent. And I have to be disciplined with that. And that's going to be uncomfortable. You know, it's going to be uncomfortable because all of these years, I have basically trained myself to not be disciplined in that area. If I had the money to go get something and I want it right now, what am I going to do? I'm going to go get it. And I realized that I can't be a compulsive spender like that. I can't just be hey, look, I want to go get this right now and I got the money, let me go get it, because that's not how I'm going to be able to break that philosophy. A lot of things that are on a list of things to buy aren't a need, it's a want. So, as I stated before, here are the 3 steps that you have to go through if you want to change. The first thing is you have to become aware. You must become aware of what is not going right in your life, whether that's with your finances, whether that's with your relationship, whether that's with your health. You have to determine what is not going right, and then you have to see what you taught about that. What was the root cause of it? And then you have to make a decision. If you want it to get better, you have to make a decision to change your philosophies, change what you think about that, and then allow for yourself time as you're renewing your mind to be able to reprogram what it is that you actually want to believe and what you want to go after in these different areas of your life. And the last one is make sure that you are disciplined. And I believe that discipline is one of the most challenging ones because even when you don't feel like it, you must go and continue to do the thing as if you love it. All right. So I hope that you were able to get some value from this. You know, an action item that I want you to take away from this is choose one area of your life that you are not happy with right now. Maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your health, maybe it's your relationship. And I want you to go and see and write down what is it that you were taught about that, whether it was directly taught about it or maybe it was indirectly. And directly means someone sat you down and said, hey, look, this is how this goes. Indirectly means that you learned by observing or by watching people. So I hope that you're able to get some value from this video. If so, make sure you leave a like down below, comment down below what your biggest takeaway was, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out for now.